From the slums of Buenos Aires to the halls of the Vatican, Pope Francis has always stood with the poor. He walked with them, ate with them, and prayed with them, not above, but among. His life has been a reflection of Christ's call to care for the least among us. In a world crying out for healing, Pope Francis responded with a letter to all humanity. He reminded us that the earth is not a resource to be used, but a sacred home to be cherished. Through his words, he called on every heart to rise in defense of our common home. Rather than building walls, Pope Francis built bridges. Across religions, borders, and cultures, he reached out, hand in hand with those once seen as other. He believed peace began with understanding and unity with respect. To the refugee with no home, to the immigrant turned away, he said, "You are not forgotten." Pope Francis walked into their camps, not as a visitor, but as a brother. In every embrace, he restored dignity. In every word, he offered hope. While tradition looked to gold and grandeur, Pope Francis looked to the gospel. On Holy Thursday, he bent to the ground, washing the feet of prisoners, the elderly, the outcast. In that act, the world saw what true leadership looks like: service without pride. In the heart of the church, Pope Francis called for cleansing. He brought light into hidden corners, challenging corruption, calling for accountability, and restoring trust. He reminded the faithful that the church must always reflect the holiness it proclaims. To the marginalized, he offered not judgment, but mercy. To those turned away, he offered a seat at the table. Pope Francis spoke boldly. Who am I to judge? And through that question, many found their way back to faith. He could have lived in a palace, but he chose a modest guest house. He rode in simple cars, wore plain shoes, and dined quietly with others. His simplicity wasn't a statement, it was his soul. In lands torn by war, he came with no sword, only prayer. He stood among victims, leaders, and soldiers, urging peace where hatred once ruled. His presence brought calm, his words opened hearts, and his prayers sowed seeds of healing. Where greed ruled, he spoke of generosity. Where injustice thrived, he demanded change. Pope Francis gave a voice to the voiceless, echoing the cries of the oppressed, the forgotten, and the brokenhearted. And when his time on earth came to an end, he left as he lived, quietly, humbly, and full of grace. Surrounded by prayer, he passed peacefully into eternal rest, into the loving arms of our Lord. The heavens opened, and a humble shepherd came home.